So my next question to you, given that we are on a cusp of a mutation of humanity, if I can put it like that, and I know you would relate to that,
Hmm.
from, say, being biologically natural to becoming a kind of a hybrid of organism and computerization. And so obviously we need to start living in this new awareness that you've been guided to. So from your wisdom, from where you're standing and all that you imbibe and all that you've been guided, what are some of the practical and very pragmatic ways that we can apply to daily lives so that it helps us navigate complexities? What would you suggest a normal human does?
Hmm. Well, first of all, we need to practice being a good human,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, which means care and compassion towards one another.
Absolutely.
Now, on the other, from both a spiritual and scientific standpoint, we have to understand who we are, how we're
Mm-hmm.
made, what
Mm-hmm.
the constructs are.
Right.
And science is showing through quantum physics that we're basically a series of layers of electromagnetic energy, right? And so that energy has frequency,
Mm-hmm.
which then can attune itself to what we have loosely called natural order, and that each of us essentially has a perfected form, fit, and function in that natural order, right? Like tapestry, like threads in the tapestry of the universe, if you will.
Yeah.
And we each have that. We are each in various stages of development of it. And through this shift now that we have, from a, let's say from a cosmic standpoint, the solar system has moved into a new area of space, which has a subtle
Mm-hmm.
shift in the vibratory rate. Now,
Right.
we as subtle energy beings
Mm-hmm.
are affected by that, whether we realize it or not. Now, the aspect of consciousness and becoming aware
Mm-hmm.
of those kinds of influences then allow us to kind of practice what the indigenous folks call the first brain activity, which is the gut, right? We feel things in our solar plexus. That's where energy is connected. And that's, the seat of the will
Right.
is what it's called. Well, whose will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it our will or is it thy will be done? And what's thy will? Well, that would be natural order as it was created to be. So we're designed to fit perfectly together in harmony with
Mm-hmm.
each other, the cosmos, and the planet. And we're just now becoming aware of how intricately uh, crafted, I'll put it that way, that these things are, and that what once used to be called living in spirit is now being termed as living in quantum entanglement in the unified field, because we have the consciousness to be aware of that and to pay attention. Now, how does that show up? Well, oftentimes that shows up by simply asking questions and putting it on pause and waiting for those answers to come in how our life unfolds. And that happens through synchronicities
Mm-hmm.
often, right? Where we ask for something and all of a sudden our attention is then pulled toward something without us even knowing it. And all of a sudden we become aware of, oh, here's my answer, right?
Absolutely.
Now, those initial answers have a certain cursory approach to begin with. And then as we begin to become aware, we can drill down into those answers with better questions and then understand our ability to perform at peak within those. And that's whether it's in relationships, in
Mm-hmm.
family dynamics, in business, in education, all of those kinds of things. These are all systems that have a design within them to work together, right? So now we're in this aspect or this process of figuring out what the agility factors are to be able to step into that from very basic, simple levels, like being a good human. Okay, so how does that work from a corporate standpoint? How does that work from a company standpoint? How does that work from a community standpoint? How does that work from a municipal standpoint? And all these systems are so well integrated that you and I, we don't even question them anymore. We just go about our lives, and you know, we go to the store, we, you know, buy clothes, we buy groceries, we interact with friends and neighbors and whatnot without even, because we're safe, right? Now, there are some aspects in the world that occur right now, especially over the last couple of years, where we haven't felt safe, where we've even been encouraged to fear each other. And now, you know, we're addressing some other opportunities of this, you know, idea of being a good human and not being aggressors,
Mhm.
right? And then we have to look at, okay, where's the aggressing coming from and why? And be able to step back and just observe that initially, and then work together in mass to put a stop to it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Which is where the power of the people come in. And
Right.
we've been neglecting that power.
Yeah.